if you want to pick one thing to start with, it's really becoming self-aware. Why am I getting upset with this? Or why am I going to the refrigerator right now to eat when I just ate an hour ago? Not only what you're thinking and doing, but your bodily sensations. How does your body respond to different people's opinions or what you think, or just paying attention to your thoughts?
Tracey Napier, an intuitive life coach.
An author who shares her transformational journey.
From being insecure to embracing
her authentic self and purpose.
To master life is really getting rid of the fear and kind of this victimhood that a lot of us are in. If we have dreams and goals, God didn't give them to us for nothing. He gave them to us to fulfill. Really shifting your perspective. And you can really create your reality. Getting rid of that fear and stepping into your power and doing what you want with your life.
Welcome to It's Your Choice podcast. Today on the show, we have Tracey Napier. Thank you very much, Tracey, for joining us today.
Hi, Sally. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Tracey, you are an intuitive life coach, author, speaker, psychic, and Reiki practitioner, and passionate about personal and spiritual development. But life wasn't always easy or outgoing to start these things, because most times people think, wow, that's great. You must be like a really outgoing person. But you used to be quite shy and a little bit insecure.
Yes, a lot of it insecure. Growing up.
So how did you change that?
Yeah, just a little background. I was born with a cleft lip and palate, and a cleft palate creates challenges with your speaking voice. And I was always really insecure about it growing up, and even as an adult. And, kids made fun of me, which, kids are kids, but at the time I really took it to heart, and it really got to me. And between that and I think even adults, when they hear me talk sometimes, can be not very nice. And so I really let it get to me. And I think because there was a part of me that believed what they were saying. And I ended up going on this journey of self-discovery and really a profound transformation after my mom passed away. And she passed away in 2018. And I was at really the lowest point in my life. I was miserable in my job. And then, of course, my mom passed away, and she was my best friend. And so I was just trying to figure out, who am I? Like, what am I here for?
Right.
And so I started going to church, and I had never been to church before, and I thought I would check it out because a friend recommended grief counseling. And so I found a grief share at a local Christian church. And so I thought, I'm here, I may as well check it out. And so I did that for a while, and then I just felt like I needed more. And so I started exploring spirituality. And that really changed my life. And so as I was exploring these spiritual concepts and practices, I started really doing this deep inner work and trying to figure out who I was, what my beliefs were, what are my core values, and really becoming self-aware as far as like how I respond to situations, my emotional triggers, and just doing this work. And I had come so far, and it's been really, really an amazing, difficult, but amazing journey, because even the past 6 months, 6 months ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, I've progressed so much. And I'm really loving the person that I am today. And it's an ongoing journey. I'm continuing to learn all the time. Like, oh, I still have work to do on that belief. But I've come so far, and I've really learned to love myself and embrace everything about me.
And you made a lot of really good points with that is it's work and it's hard, but it's also great once we go through that. And it's like everything. I mean, when we forget how hard it was to learn to walk, like we don't remember doing that, but it wasn't easy. Sometimes riding a bike, uh, for some driving a car, and I use those just as examples because we didn't know how to do those things, and it was hard. And now we don't even think about it. It's just so natural, and so it's good that people are aware, like it is work, it is hard, but the results are amazing. But also it's not, oh, I did it, I'm done, I'm all better now, and I don't have to do it anymore
Yeah.
because things are always changing. We're always changing. And, even something that, we may have believed 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, that now we don't because information that we have has changed. Our perspective or our experiences have changed, and then therefore our beliefs can change. And I love that that you did the work. It's unfortunate that we have to do the work, but it's good and recognizing that it is an ongoing process, but the result in the end is so worth it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's part of, I didn't mention, so during this journey, I was laid off my job. So in December 2022, I was laid off my job and I was miserable. This was a miserable job that I was in that I hated. And I knew that it was God opening a door for me and I was going to seize that opportunity. And so I started doing more inner work and I had a little bit more time. And so I became psychic, which is really interesting. And so I was at that point led and guided to write a book and to use my voice in various capacities through writing, through podcasting, however, just getting my voice out there. And I'm still being guided to do that because it's a really important message that, I've been so insecure about my voice and I've held myself back for nearly my entire life. And now that I'm overcoming that and I'm getting out there, I think it's a really good example. And I think that's why I'm guided to do that. And similarly with my coaching, I think it's a way for me to connect with other women and show them that you can do the work and overcome your beliefs about your challenge. It was never the challenge itself, which is what I thought the whole time. I thought my voice would limit my potential. It's like, no, it was all in my head. And
And
so,
and that's
yeah,
true for most people. A lot of like what we think is in our head. And so what was that like when that first thought came to you about writing a book and being on podcasts, especially because you didn't like your voice, you were worried about it and insecure. Like, did you think that's just a crazy idea? I could never do that.
yeah. So I never wanted to be seen or heard. And that includes writing. And so when I first was guided to write a book, I started writing. I trusted God and angels, and I knew it was what I was supposed to be doing, and there was a lesson in it for me. And so I started writing a book, and about 2 or 3 weeks after I started writing it, I received another message, and it said, "Get changed. How to become the master of your own life." And I was like, oh, I know that that's supposed to be the title and topic of my book. And I thought, I'm unemployed. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And you want me to write a book on mastering life? Okay. But then I realized eventually that the book wasn't just for the readers, it was for me. It's all about learning how to step into your power. And it was a journey for me to learn how to step into my power. And so it's a small little book, and it was it was challenging for me to be so vulnerable in the book because I have always not been vulnerable. But then the speaking part too, to your question about how I felt, I was terrified. And it's still scary to me, but I'm pushing through the fears and I'm getting so much more comfortable. I actually really enjoy it. But I'm still scared. I don't know why, but I enjoy it.
Pardon the interruption. If you're liking the show so far, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. It really means a lot to me. It helps grow the show and the channel and to the show. And that's fantastic. And it's so true. There's things that we can do, even though we're on the journey. There is always going to be, I call them bumps in the road, things that happen. There's going to be things that are uncomfortable. There's going to be challenges. But no matter what we do, there's uncomfortable moments and challenges. Like there were uncomfortable moments and challenges at the job that you hated.
Yeah.
There was a lot of those. And so I think it's good for people to understand like that is what we call life. There are great times where things flow easy. There's uncomfortable times and challenges, but those make us grow. And when we do those uncomfortable challenges enough, they become easy. And even after the first time, we're like, okay, that was a next time I might do it a little bit differently. And
Exactly.
that next challenge that comes, whether it's the same or not, we learn from each of those and they become easier until there's something that's a whole new, different, big challenge. But then
Yeah.
we still just do the same thing over again. We push through, we get there, we're like, okay, learned what to do, what not to do, how to make it easier or better. And then we do it again and
Yeah.
again.
We learn and we grow. That's the cycle of life.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we're here to do is to learn and grow and have experiences.
Yes, exactly. And make the life, treat the life that you want. You know, I held myself back for so long. And now sometimes I think back and like, wow, like I didn't realize how much I was holding myself back. Even now, like, wow. So it's been a great journey, challenging but great.
Yeah. And so how has your newfound spirituality helped you with those challenges? Because you didn't have that before. You're saying like it wasn't part of your life. And then you just thought, here I am. It's kind of right in front of me. I'm here. And so how has that helped change your life?
It has a complete 180. I'm gonna get emotional because I don't even know what it's like anymore to not have a spiritual practice. I started out, like I said, I started going to church and listening to popular pastor on TV, and I that started my journey, and it really developed a connection with God rather than just simply knowing He existed. And then as I started developing the more spiritual practices, I went to a psychic one time and she introduced me to angel numbers. And I had been seeing the number 808 for about 2 years. And I had never heard of angel numbers. I didn't know what that was. And she's like, yeah, your angels are trying to communicate with you. They're sending you numbers. And it occurred to me after my session that I had been seeing 808 so much. And I realized what it was at the time. It was for me to learn how to improve my money consciousness was what it
Okay.
was, and to start saving money and be open up to abundance. But I from there have been paying attention to angel numbers, and then that spread to oracle cards, and so I read oracle cards every day. And then just starting meditating and just all of the spiritual practices, affirmations, and I just happy and so many different tools, right, that we have available. And I have grown so much. I can't even imagine. Like even the tapping, I hate. You know EFT, right?
Yeah, yeah, I do. Yep.
I do that almost every day, and I have a love-hate relationship with it because I hate doing it. Sometimes I tap on the fact that I hate tapping, but
Fair
it
enough.
does help me. I know it really
Mm-hmm.
does help shift my energy. And so all of these practices have helped me to be so positive, especially the angel numbers, oracle cards, dreams. I have so many dreams and visions. Like I said, I'm psychic. So when I meditate or when I'm sleeping, sometimes it's when I'm walking, when I'm opened up,
Mm-hmm.
I receive visions or I hear things, I know things, I feel things. And I can't imagine life without that now. So it's been it's had a profound impact on me.
Wow, that's fascinating. And I love the fact that you have a love-hate relationship with something that you do, which is the tapping, but just that you still do it because I have a little bit of that. So I go jogging, which is different, but I mean, I can kind of meditate. I go through my thoughts while I'm jogging,
Mhm.
and I do have where the first little bit, so maybe the first kilometer, the first 5 minutes or something like that. I hate it. I'm like, why am I doing this? This is so stupid. But I want to do it, but I don't like it. And then when I'm done, and I usually when I'm in kind of my prime or my peak at jogging, because I go through phases, I do about 10 kilometers. And when I'm done, I feel fantastic and I love it. And I love doing it. And then it's that feeling of I want to do it regularly and consistently because I feel great when I'm done. But even though I'm doing it consistently, that first 5-ish minutes or the first kilometer, depending upon the day, maybe even the first 2 kilometers, I'm like, I don't feel like doing this. It sucks. And I just kind of push through because I know once I get through that, I kind of get into the rhythm and I feel so good when I'm done that I want that done feeling, so I do it. And it's not just like, oh, I'm done. I feel great. It's like done, but then I feel great for the rest of the day
Ah,
because I did it.
yes. I have the same thing with yoga. Actually, I do like yoga, but I don't like spending the time to do it. I don't, it's weird. But every time I
Mm.
spend, at least 30 minutes on doing yoga, I'm like, I need to do this more often. I feel more open. Why do I not do this more?
Right. And I think it's just great for people listening to know. And they probably, some of the listeners probably feel that way about something in their life. And to think that, we don't always have to do things that are always wonderful and enjoyable all the time. That sometimes we have to kind of push through that first little bit and get going because the after and the long-term feeling is really good. Um, and we just have to push through that, just get
Yeah.
started and kind of just do it. And that can be related to so many things, right? Like I'm relating it for me for exercise. For other people, it could be sitting down and writing that book, right? They want to do it, or starting a new podcast or YouTube channel, or gardening, or whatever it may be, doing puzzles if that's what you enjoy. Like whatever that thing is that just
Mhm.
is a benefit to you in a good way, whether it's relaxation, meditation, brings clarity, moments of just thinking, just sit in quiet and actually
Mhm.
think. That the first few minutes, the mind's going crazy, and I think like this is kind of a waste of time because I got so many things to do.
Yeah.
Then it's quieting and thinking, okay, what's important? What do I need to work on? What do I need to prioritize? And then that makes it better in the long term, instead of having little bits of stuff, 100 things that I need to be doing and nothing's actually getting complete.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the way I feel when I do a really good meditation session. Like, oh, I wish every meditation was like this. Like, oh, it's so protected. Now I know what to focus on. I get that clarity.
Right. And I do have that bit of a struggle with meditation. That, I mean, sometimes it's great and I'm just like, I don't want to exit the meditation. It's like feeling so good and so right. And then I have other ones that I just can't really get into it. I can't settle the mind. I've got stuff and I'm trying, and I've learned that that's just part of the process.
It's
And so I
normal.
always say, I have great meditations and I have ones that I still need to work on because I don't want to ever say that they're bad and be
Yeah.
like, oh, that was bad or not good, because that's not a good way to look at it. But like, okay, my mind is got a lot going on and it wasn't the best one, but at least I still did it.
Yeah.
Still got a little clarity or a little calmness or a little bit quieter. And everyone is good, even though it's not what I would perceive as my best ideal meditation.
Right.
And I think we need to look at that too, is what is our own perspective? And we
Yeah.
are generally a little harder on ourselves, probably way harder on ourselves than what we would be on other people. Pardon the interruption. If you're enjoying this episode and you're someone who values performance, clarity, and personal growth, then you're going to love my Mind Matters weekly newsletter. Every week, I send out a quick, powerful piece designed to help high achievers like you master your mindset, upgrade your habits, and lead with more clarity and fulfillment. It's not fluff, it's science backed, actionable, and easy to digest. It as your weekly reset button to realign with the leader you're becoming. So if you want to go deeper than what we've covered here on the show, then head over to www.sallypederson.com. That's me, and subscribe. Your next breakthrough just might be one email away. Now back to the show.
Yeah. I was just thinking that we just need to show ourselves some compassion. Like, we did it. Be proud of that. That's awesome. Look at me. I spent 20 minutes meditating or 10 minutes. Great job.
Yeah, exactly. And then it just helps do it for the next time and the next time, and to build that routine, and it just gets better with practice.
Definitely.
And so for you, what of your spiritual practices have been the most impactful? Is it like which ones do you find that have worked the best for you?
Well, so there's a couple things. So I think connecting with the angels and guides through oracle cards and angel numbers in my dreams are the most, and meditation are the best for me and the most effective for me because I do receive information and guidance. But also journaling
Mm.
and reflecting on whenever I'm thinking about trying to dig into my belief system and my emotional triggers, just doing that inner work, it is really effective. And this is similar to our conversation about meditation. Every time I journal isn't great. Sometimes it's like I just wasted half an hour and I felt like I got nowhere. But sometimes I go deep and it's like, wow, now I understand. And you really learn so much about yourself. So it's been definitely wonderful for me. And especially when I have those moments of clarity. And
Mm.
that has been really profound for me, actually.
And so you had mentioned that you use your oracle cards every day, and you
Mhm.
enjoy that. Do you also journal every day?
I journal, no, I would probably say about 5 days a week.
Mhm.
Sometimes 4. So I tend to go in spurts. I was doing it
Mhm.
every day for a while, and then I would skip a day or two, and then I got down to probably 3 or 4 days, and I'm now probably about 4 to 5 days. So it kind of varies a little bit.
Mhm. And that's good. I mean, there's no perfect thing. I know some people that journal every morning or every
Yeah.
evening. For me, I don't journal at all. It's been on my list of things I need to start doing, but
Ah,
my I've enjoyed my morning routine. I have to kind of figure out how to add it in there because, well, it's just finding out what works. And I think it
yeah,
would help, but it definitely would not be something that I could start incorporating every day. But I think that's okay too. You know, we each have to find what works for us. I've been doing okay without journaling, but I want to give it a try to see how it would work for me, and then
yeah,
finding that ideal. And that's the thing, is there is no one size fits all,
no. And
right?
even now, what works for you now may not work for you in 2 years. So we all
Right.
evolve and change. And so I was at a point where I was journaling every day, but I didn't feel like most of them were that effective. And then I realized, like, you know what? Maybe I need to just not journal every day because I feel like every few days it takes a lot. If you really want to get something out of it and you really need to reflect and go back on your childhood and all this stuff, it can be draining. And so I felt like maybe every 2 or 3 days might be better for me because I kind of reset my mind and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. And I'll spend a little bit more time on it. So I tried that too, and that actually worked really well. But so it just depends.
Yeah, you're right. And it is just figuring out what works for each person. If it is doing a journal, maybe less often initially, which then could turn into more often later, but initially is potentially to spend more time, go a little bit deeper and work on it, and then give your mind a break for a few days and then to go back. And especially, there's so many things that we can do, right? With meditation and journaling and exercise and all of these things. Like, we just don't have enough time in the day to do everything, plus our
Right.
jobs, plus our family, plus our, like, it doesn't work. And so
Yeah.
it really is important to figure out what works for us and on a timeline schedule that works for us. Because if not, we're just never going to do it. It
Right.
reminds me of like New Year's when everybody says, okay, it's a new year, everything is going to be different, and I'm going to do these 10 things starting January 1st. I'm always like, that's quite a bit. I mean, very few people can do it. There's some that can. I don't want to say nobody ever does, but statistically speaking, it is somewhere around 95% of people by, I think, the third week or
Mm-hmm.
have they're done, and they don't try to go back and start over again. They're like, ah, forget it. There's always next year. So they have the rest of the year. But I always
Yeah.
think if we want to start something, pick one thing, give it a few weeks, couple months, depending upon what it is. Start
Mhm.
that, see how it works with your routine. And if you like it and you stick with it, great. Then you can maybe integrate one more thing and
Mhm.
give that a few months and do that, because then we have a routine, and just by adding or changing one thing, it makes it easier to maintain and keep it going. And then we have to give it that time. Because as you
Yeah.
said, with your journaling, even there was times you're like, no, every day was too much. You wanted to wait. And we have to find that sweet spot for each of us.
Yeah, I would just recommend for anyone listening that if you want to pick one thing to start with, it's really becoming self-aware. Just
Hmm.
starting with self-awareness. What why am I feeling upset with this? Or why am I going to the refrigerator right now to eat when I just ate an hour ago? And just really becoming self-aware of not only what you're thinking and doing, but your bodily sensations. How does your body respond to different people's opinions or what you think, or just paying attention to your thoughts? Self awareness is really super important to really getting to know ourselves. And then once you're starting to become self aware, then you can really start journaling about it. Like, oh,
Mm.
I got frustrated at my spouse today. And I don't know why. It really wasn't that big of a deal, and you kind of dig into why.
And I think that is 100% like the most important thing, is to start to be self-aware, and with that is, why do I feel this way? Why am I so mad that that guy cut me off in traffic, or that girl? I don't want to say it was a guy, but that person cut me off in traffic. Like, why am I so mad? Yeah, it wasn't a nice thing to do, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe they were in a hurry. Maybe they're in there's an emergency going on at home or something, right? Like, I always try to give the benefit. It's like, why am I responding this way?
Yeah.
Why, when I hear, see, read, whatever thing, why am I feeling this way? And then, do I want to continue to read those types of things? Like, I don't really watch much news because it's just a rabbit hole to go down, no matter what news anywhere in the world.
Mhm.
And so a few highlights to be like aware. And I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of what's going on, but A lot of it's clickbait too. A lot of it is clips that it's like for the whole context. And so we have to think about that things because I know a lot of those things are to get a reaction. And then why do I feel that way? And then what can I do about it to change it? Do I have a wrong, I don't want to say a wrong belief, but something that I'm really don't really agree with anymore that maybe needs a change? Or what do I need to do? And some of it is just be aware. Like I have a friend of mine, um she even says she's overly sensitive. And I always say to her, well, that's your choice. And she's like, well, it's not a choice. And I said, well, it is. You're choosing to be overly sensitive because you even know that you're the one that's saying that you are overly sensitive. So you are aware of it and it's your choice. And if you want to stay overly sensitive, that's your choice. You are aware. Fine. That's no problem. But because you know you are, and you even say you are, if you don't want to be anymore, then you can work on that to change it. Not going to be easy, not going to happen overnight, but you can change it if you choose to. It's your choice.
Exactly. I totally agree. Yeah, some
Yeah.
people, it's hard to grasp that concept sometimes,
Mm.
especially with something like that. Like, what do you mean? I'm just sensitive. I have, all this energy. Well,
It's just the
you
way I
do have
am.
options. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it is hard to grasp that concept. And I understand that, but I agree with you. It is a choice.
Mhm. It is. But it's part of life, and that's why I went with the title of the podcast of It's Your Choice, but it doesn't mean that things are easy to change. It's once
Exactly.
we realize we have a choice and everything we do is a choice, then we can make those decisions for us,
Mhm.
which kind of makes sense with your book, Get Changed, right? It's a choice if you want to change. So get changed, how to become the master of your own life. So how do we change and become the master of our own life?
Yeah, so I just want to first clarify what that means, what becoming the master of your own life means. Because I think a lot of people think, oh, yeah, that means you've mastered it and everything's perfect and you have no challenges. Like, no, it's actually not what it means. It
Right,
really
because there's
means
always going to be some challenges.
there's always going to be challenges, but it really means just taking responsibility for creating the life that you want. So it's stepping into power to do that. And you do that through many different ways. So the chapter titles are Eliminate Bad Habits, Get Out of Your Comfort Zone, Get to Know Yourself, Nurture Your Health, Change Your Thoughts, Develop a Spiritual Practice, and then Step into Your Power. And so
Perfect.
each chapter is just kind of touching on what that means, and I share a lot of personal stories as examples and metaphors. I use a lot of metaphors in my book, and I do have a metaphor for the process of getting change. So each chapter, like eliminate bad habits, is clean out your closet.
Mm.
But to master your life is really getting rid of the fear and kind of this victimhood that a lot of us are in, and stepping into your power, create the life that you want. We all have the power to create the life that we want. If we have dreams and goals, God didn't give them to us for nothing. He gave them to us to fulfill. And He also gave us everything we need to fulfill them. And so it's a matter of really shifting your perspective and your thoughts. Your thoughts can really create your reality. When your thoughts play a huge role in creating your reality. And
Mm.
so it's just a matter of kind of going on this journey. It's 7 steps, but they're not linear. You can eliminate bad habits while you're developing spiritual practice. But it's a matter of kind of harmonizing all of these um, steps and practices and growing and learning. It's really all about learning and growing. The growth mindset, getting rid of that fear and stepping into your power and doing what you want with your life.
Right. And the great thing about that is people can start with whichever chapter works for them, right? To
Yeah.
to to pick one or work on more than one if they want, or take bits from it. It depends on where they are in their life, and
Yeah.
what they want to prioritize, or where they feel the things are that they want to work on, and then
Yeah.
go from there, because they all really do interconnect.
They do. They do. And it's funny because when I was writing the last chapter of the book, like I said, this was a journey for me too. And as I started writing the last chapter, I would just kind of get some guidance with some intuitive feelings of what to write about. And what came to mind was one night I heard someone tell me, he said, most of us don't know how much victimhood we have.
Oh,
And at the time, I thought, well, that's random. Like, I don't use that word normally. I didn't. And I thought it was a random message. And I thought, well, I don't feel like I'm a victim. I don't act like a victim. I don't feel like poor me. But the more I looked into victimhood, the more I realized I was 100% in that victimhood mentality. And I now that I really kind of understand it, I can talk to people and pick up on that. Like, oh, they have that too. I recognize it because I've been there. And it's not a good place to be. And so it really means like letting its fear drive your life. And it's it's important to step out of that and to step into your power. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, Tracy, if people wanted to get your book, where could they get it? And then if they want to connect with you because you do coaching and they want to follow you and just kind of see what's going on and how you can help them, where can they also connect with you and be in touch with you?
Sure, yeah. The best way is connecting with me on my website. I have a link to my book there, which is on Amazon. And then I also have all of my social links there as well. So I would just go to my website, it's traceynapier.com, and connect with me there. I would love that.
That's perfect. And I will make sure to have that link in the show notes to make it even easier for people to connect with you and get your book.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So, thank you very much for your time today, Tracy. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been great. Thank you for having me.